Back again with another review, and this is for Alex, the Lego guy. He wanted me to talk about and review Miracle, 2004 Disney film based on the true story of the United States ice hockey team led by coach Herb Brooks, in this film played by Kurt Russell, who would go on to win the gold in the 1980 Winter Olympics, overcoming the heavily favored Soviet team. And yeah, I would say this is a good movie. I mean, Kurt Russell in the film, performance-wise, is really good. I mean, the supporting cast, you have a couple of recognizable actors here, like Noah Emmerich. I remember he was in the film Frequency with Dennis Quaid. And in The Truman Show, he was in that too. A guy that you've seen before, that you recognize. He plays the assistant coach here in the film. And, a lot of the other actors here, the hockey team, from what I understand, a lot of the hockey players here in the film were portrayed by hockey players. And it says right here, kind of a little bit of a side note, the young men chosen to portray the members of the Team USA were chosen primarily for their hockey skills due to the intense nature of the filming. Acting ability was secondary. In fact, for most of them, this was their first major film. Now, I know there's a couple of actors in here, that has gone on to do other stuff, like, I believe the actor Eddie Cahill. Now, I've seen this guy before, and he was on CSI New York for a good while with Gary Sinise, and I'm like, okay, that's where I've seen him before. So there's, a couple of actors in here that you've seen before, and there's some other, players on the team that's portrayed by hockey players, and you also have Don Davis in the film for a couple of scenes. I'm like, hey, there's Don Davis from Stargate SG-1, and I know I recognized some other people here in the cast, and I want to get the names here, but yeah, Sean McCain, he plays one of the officials in the film. Unfortunately, he's passed away, but I remember he had a very small part, a bit part in Tommy Boy. The wife in the film, played by Patricia Clarkson, I haven't seen her. Okay, so she was in The Green Mile, Shutter Island, but yeah, and she's also known for House of Cards and some other stuff. I mean, I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff, but she's done other films, projects. But she's the wife of Kurt Russell's character in the film. I would say the cast, does a good job. I would say for me, it's Kurt Russell's performance. I mean, it's pretty much Kurt Russell's film here. The players on the team, they're fine, they're serviceable. But that's one thing about the film, like, because, if I compare this to other sports films out there, because around this time they were really popular, whether it be Remember the Titans or Glory with Josh Lucas, films of that sort, of that genre. And there's been ones even before that I've enjoyed, like Rudy, which is a great movie. But it seems like, it was sort of a fad in the early 2000s, with making sports films, and again, with Remember the Titans, this film, and much more. And we still get them every once in a while, but they're not as prevalent, if you want to say. But, going back to the cast here, it's pretty much, Kurt Russell's show here. It's about, his performance. He's definitely the standout aspect of the film, because to me, he does a really good job playing this character. Unfortunately, the real coach, Herb Brooks, passed away right before they started filming. Unfortunately, he passed away in a car accident. They believe he slept at the wheel, which is sad to hear. I did watch a little bit of the behind the scenes, and he did get to, like, you could see him kind of in the beginnings of filming you know, talking to Kurt Russell and so forth, but he didn't see the finished product. He didn't see, you know, what was ultimately made. Again, which is sad. And I mean, as far as the event, the 1980 United's, the Olympic victory over the Soviet Union, what is dubbed, you know, the miracle. You know, do you believe in miracles? You know, which Al Michaels said that, and that's where that's where that came from here. And in fact, a little note on that. I know I'm sure I'm getting a little bit, you know, as far as like I'm going into different areas here with this review, but Al Michaels, he joined the film to recreate the commentary for the games. The director, Gavin O'Connor, decided to use the last 10 seconds of Michael's original Do You Believe in Miracles? Call in the film because he felt he couldn't ask him to recreate the emotion he experienced at that moment. So they cleaned up the recording to make the transition to be more authentic, call as seamless as possible. So, you know, that's where that phrase, you know, comes from. Do you believe in miracles? So, but again, I think, you know, what makes this film work is Kurt Russell. You know, the supporting cast. I mean, you got a couple of recognizable actors. I don't think the hockey team, and kind of what I was going at before, you know, got a little sidetracked, but you know, I think one thing with the film that, you know, maybe I think could have been worked on a little bit better was the players, because, you know, in a film like, let's say, Remember the Titans, I felt the characters were more interesting and had a little bit more fun with each other, more rapport. You know, the characters here, the hockey team, what I'm referring to, again, they're fine, they're serviceable, but they don't really have any standout moments, or, you know, a lot of moments that are memorable, or they don't really focus on the banter between the players here. I mean, you get some dramatic scenes, of course, you know, that's you know, it's a dramatic film. You get some dramatic moments, but nothing like you would see in Remember the Titans, because at least you have, in Remember the Titans, you had the character of Gary, you know, which we all liked that character, and Julius, and much more. You had Ethan Suplee, Ryan Gosling, you know, these other actors in the film that, you know, while Denzel was great in that film, but you had these other players that complement the performance, led by Denzel. You know, here it's Kurt Russell. He's the highlight of the film. It's his film pretty much, and it's a really good performance. You know, the runtime, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Maybe I could have done without, you know, 10, 15 minutes. That I think they could have worked on the runtime a little bit. I know it's the same director, Gavin O'Connor, who would go on to do Pride and Glory and Warrior. Warrior's a good flick with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. And Joel Edgerton, if I can say his name right, Joel Edgerton. Did I get it right that time? I don't know, but yeah, that's a good movie. And I'm not a big Tom Hardy fan, but that's a good movie. And I if I were to choose, I would say I prefer that a little bit more in terms of the director's work here. And I don't say that as a knock on this movie, but maybe because I felt the performances were much stronger in that film. And again, I'm not the biggest Tom Hardy fan, but that's a really good movie. So I don't mind the director's work. I thought the direction here, you know, for the most part, it was good. I mean, it's a feel-good movie. And even The Rookie, yeah, it says on the back here, you know, I forgot about that. That's another film that you can throw into that, you know, genre of sports movies around this time, because you have The Rookie too as well. But it mentioned that I see it on the back here. But again, you know, the direction I thought was good for the most part. The score, yeah, the score was fine. I mean, Mark Isham provided the score, and I looked up this guy and I'm like, you know, he's still doing his thing. And I'm like, okay, let me go back a little bit further. And apparently he worked on the score for Time Cop, The Net, October Sky. And I'm like, okay, he's worked on some good movies. So, Yeah, Mark Isham score, you know, it's okay here. And, you know, as far as like other little side notes to mention, uh, well, I mentioned about three or four already that I wanted to mention, but during the filming, Kurt Russell took a pay cut. That there was a scene where they used a bunch of extras, like 800 to 1,000 extras, to use as fans for the hockey games, and Kurt Russell took a pay cut so they can enjoy a hot meal instead of a brown bag lunch. You know, which is cool. I mean, Jack Burton pays for your, you know, provides meals for everybody, all the fans in the crowd, the extras. You know, so that's pretty cool. And, you know, I mean, I don't necessarily have any, like, favorite moments per se. I was invested in the story. I was invested in Kurt Russell's performance. And I like the moment where, you know, they're going through the team and the people that got let go. He's like, they got off easy. And I like that moment, you know, where, you know, they're cutting people. And I mean, yeah, some good dramatic moments too as well, where, you know, Kurt Russell is really pushing his team and, you know, pushing them harder and harder, and, you know, just preparing for the upcoming games. And, you know, the stuff on the ice, you know, the hockey games I thought were well shot. It's a good looking movie. I understood what was going on. So I like, you know, some of the, you know, shots of the players, the games, and again, it's a really good looking film for 2004. And, you know, I'm trying to figure out what else to mention here. I mean, I would say overall, you know, it's a feel-good movie. Is it one of my favorites, like, among sports movies? I mean, I would say I prefer other ones more. Like even The Sandlot, you know, which is really good. I would say I prefer The Sandlot more, Remember the Titans more, Rudy more. And now it makes me want to look at a list of other sports films because I know I'm forgetting some. Let me see here. Major League, yeah, I prefer that a little bit more. Field of Dreams, I mean, Hoosiers. I mean, this is a hell lot better than Creed, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, Rookie of the Year, I would say I prefer a little bit more, you know, Cool Runnings. I forgot about that. White Man Can't Jump. The Replacements, yeah, that's a fun movie. Rocky, of course. How can I forget Rocky? You see, I had to mention some more because I know, you know, some people are going to comment below, but you know, I would say overall, Miracle, I would say it's a good film. It's a good film that everybody can watch. It's a good film for the family with a very strong performance from Kurt Russell. I almost said Russell Crowe, but I got the wrong Russell, if that was the case. But yeah, Kurt Russell, again, he's definitely the highlight here. It's his film pretty much, and he steals the show. I mean, you have a couple of other good actors in here that, you know, play their parts well. But maybe, like I said, I think the hockey players themselves, I think they could have been worked on a little bit more in terms of writing. Maybe you could have, you know, trimmed down the film, trimmed down the runtime a little bit, maybe 10, 15 minutes. You know, capable direction from Gavin O'Connor. So, yeah, if this film, if you're looking for, you know, a film that makes you feel good and it's one you've never seen before, I recommend Miracle. So, yeah, it's a feel-good movie with a very good performance. But yeah, so that's my review of Miracle. Thank you to Alex, the Lego guy, for suggesting it. But thank you for watching, and have a good day.